when I started thinking about what I wanted to do next. I was tossing up between starting a PhD, applying for a master's course in genetic counselling, or joining the real world of employment. I wasn't 100% sure about starting a PhD and spending another 3 to 4 years researching autism genetics, which was what my honours project was. My supervisor, Andrew, from the Telephone Institute for Child Health Research, is so passionate about autism research and improving the lives of people with autism. His enthusiasm, energy and compassion was something that I really admired and wanted for myself. To be that personally committed to your research or to your job, I think is amazing. One day when we were talking, he told me that his dedication was due to time he spent working as a speech pathologist with children with autism, particularly one little boy that changed Andrew's perspective and now drives his personal dedication to improving the lives of all people with autism. So I've reached a point where I needed to decide what to do next. As fate would have it, there was an article in the West Australian in the middle of last year about a girl called Abby Bassam and her dream of sarcoma. The last paragraph in the article was about how the Foundation had established a research scholarship for a PhD student to investigate the molecular biology of sarcomas. As soon as I read this article, I knew that this is what I had to do. I remember taking the piece of newspaper with me into uni that day. I went straight to Eric, who was my other supervisor, and I said, this is what I want to do, and I told him why. My cousin Gareth had sarcoma. He was diagnosed around the time I was in year 12, and he went through the treatments, the surgeries, the whole roller coaster ride, while I was living my normal life at school and then at uni. Gareth passed away in 2009 at the age of 21. At the time of his diagnosis, no one in my family had heard of sarcoma. I didn't even know people my age could get cancer. I guess during my study of health science, I'd always been interested when we did cancer topics, but it always seemed so far beyond my capabilities to be a cancer researcher. But thanks to Abby and Soccer to Sarcoma, I've been given the opportunity to do something that means so much to me and the rest of my family. I'll just tell you a little bit about what my research project will involve. I get a small piece of tumour from either David or Richard, and I take those cells into the lab and I grow them, and then I extract the DNA. I apply whole genome analysis techniques to the DNA, which tells me the person's whole code. This technology that I'm going to use is in the front line of genetic analysis. Not that long ago, just in 2003, it took a huge consortium of people over 10 years to sequence a single human genome at the cost of $3 billion. Now I can do it in under a few hours for less than $2,000.
Wow.
I will compare the DNA from the tumour to the DNA of a normal cell from the patient's body to find out what the genetic differences are between the normal and the tumour DNA. From this research, I hope that we can not only find important genetic changes that can give us information about how sarcomas develop, but also start working towards personalised medicine, where a patient's treatment can be informed and improved by tailoring it towards the type of genetic mutations that are occurring in their tumour. So what have I done so far in 3 months? I've done a lot of reading. I've learned how to culture cells and extract DNA. I just had an exam this morning for my advanced biostatistics unit, and David and I have had our first paper accepted on sarcoma genomics due to be published in December. In a few years' time, I hope I can tell you about the research that I've done and what I've learned, the papers that I've published and the conferences I've presented at. But most importantly, I hope I can tell you what my research will do for sarcoma patients. I would now like to recognise the person who has made this all possible. If you can please join me in raising your glasses. To Abby, whose vision has brought this incredible community of people together. To Abby.